Now, you might have thought grooming gangs were a problem in the UK today. The horrific and numerous stories from Rotherham, Rochdale, Telford, Scotland, with many of the suspected offenders and indeed guilty offenders being allowed to continue to roam the streets. But I don't think I was prepared for just how bad it was. A freedom of information request was put to all 43 territorial police forces in England and Wales, which showed that there are 10,423 suspects identified from just 17 of those forces. Out of that number, just 9.5% of the suspects have ever faced charges. That's 997 from 10,423. Although 9 men were convicted of mass abuse in Rochdale of teenage girls, the majority of suspects are still free and likely continuing their activities. Half of that number were in the Metropolitan Police Force area, with 5,022 suspects, out of which a paltry and pathetic 513 had been charged. Warwickshire Police had identified 60 suspects but had failed to charge any. Gwent Police identified 190 and have charged a whopping 3. And Hertfordshire Police have charged 77 suspects from a pool of 424. Information from a Sunday Mirror investigation also showed that 5 child sexual exploitation victims were murdered, 18 took their own lives and 4 died in drug-related incidents. Now, of course, we can't simply blame the filthy cretins who are committing the offences. We must also hold to account the organisations that are supposed to be there to protect children but failed, such as the police, for being either too afraid or to act, or for fear of being called racist, or for in some cases being complicit in the abuse themselves. Social services and councils who seem to prefer to look the other way. And this lack of action from these organisations has led to situations such as Adel Ali, who was the so-called head of a grooming gang operating in Telford that preyed on and destroyed the lives of some 100 young girls by forcing them into prostitution. And you can bet your ass he and his gang abused them sexually as well. As if to prove that these people simply cannot change, Ali, who was 30 at the time, was arrested and jailed in 2012 but released on licence after serving just 8 years, and within a year was recalled to prison for breaching his licence conditions. But yet the justice system still believes that jail will rehabilitate these animals. In fact, this sick, vile creature, according to the parole board, will only now have to serve another 2 years before being eligible for parole again. I mean, after 8 years, he literally went straight out and breached his licence conditions. So the parole board think, oh, maybe another couple of years will make a difference. What the fuck? Ali's victims were no older than 13 and were controlled by Ali, his brother Uberek, and 5 other men over a 3-year period. Telford MP Lucy Allen said back in 2020 when Ali was recalled, "I'm concerned that the law still allows for early release of serious sexual offenders. However, since the sentencing of Adel Ali and Murbek Ali, the law has changed to prevent this in future, and I am proud to have played my part in the change in this law." The Ministry of Justice said serious sex offenders released on licence are closely monitored and can be returned to prison if they breach strict conditions such as curfews and exclusion zones. So closely monitored, in fact, that Ali and many others we've reported on this channel have gone straight from jail to reoffending, and so seriously do they take the breach of conditions they simply give Ali just another 24 months before being eligible to go back to doing what he does, abusing children. I mean, what a sick and twisted world we live in when the offenders of such horrific offences get better treatment than the fucking victims.